Here we are, down the bottom of the garden with the fairies, and I'm speaking to Rick Palin. Rick, how are you?
I'm great, Andy, thanks. Thanks for coming along and doing this. Yes, we are here in Richmond, which 5 yards away would have been in Kingston. But yes, this is the garden, and the fairies are just going out for lunch. They're on sort of like a work early job.
And there's a reason we're here, because on the 23rd and the 24th of November, at the weekend, or that weekend, there's a special charity event that you're the master of ceremonies, the organiser, the promoter for. Cancer on the Rocks.
Yeah, it is 23rd, 24th November, as you say, at Bush Hall in London. And it's something we've done now for the last couple of years, primarily because we don't feel that there's enough support being given to cancer charities, for one, and the other reason is more of a personal thing, in the respect that I don't think people understand the devastation that cancer actually causes until it happens to them. So the roles that these people play are absolutely vital in everything that we do.
So tell us about how the lineup for this year's show came together.
Basically, I approach Cancer on the Rocks like it was my personal gig. I like to put on the bands that I want to see play, because of obviously what I do for a job. I've got a good ear of what's popular and what's not. One of the biggest sensations of a lot so far this year in the rock industry has been the rise of Collateral and Piston. So they were a no-brainer. We had to have them. And one of the first bands I always wanted on the roster for the show from day one, 3 years ago, was Romeo's daughter. I've been friends with Lee and the band for years, and luckily they just started returning to actively touring again after taking some time out, and we've got them for the only London show of 2019, so we're really chuffed about that. And then of course is Rick Parfitt. Now there's a bit of irony here as well, because when I had long hair, they used to say I look the dead spit of his dad. And we both got the same first names, and initials of our surnames are the same.
Cool.
So basically, if anybody asked me for an autograph, I'd just sign it Rick P and walk off. So the option came out to having Rick Jr.'s band perform, and they're a world-class band of musicians dragged from various well-known bands. So to put them all together again was pretty much a no-brainer. So we had them come in, and we're hoping they're going to do wonderful things for us and for the cause.
That's excellent stuff. And let's talk about the venue. The venue is in Shepherd's Bush at the Bush Hall. Great little venue.
Yeah, I mean, Bush Hall, it's... I believe it's had a bit of a turbulent past, but the new crew that got it now have turned it into an absolutely amazing venue. The fact is, I believe the history of it goes back to an old 18th century women's meeting hall or something along those lines. And you look inside, it's a grand venue, it's got the balconies overlooking the stage. It's just a perfect place for it. And the acoustics, well, they're just top notch.
And so will there be seating and standing for the gig?
Well, hopefully. I mean, if we pack out to a maximum absolute sellout, there'll be no seating. There won't be any tables around the room or anything along those lines, but I mean, we're hoping obviously to actually pack it out, because like I say, for me it's a bit of a first time, because it's the first time I've actually done this in London, so we're hoping for really big things from it, and with the support of the many people and friends I've made down here, they're all helping spreading the word and really encouraging what we're trying to do down here, which is fantastic.
And it's a weekend event. It's a game of two halves. People can either go on the Saturday or the Sunday, but ideally they can get a discounted weekend ticket as well.
Yeah, we're doing, basically it's an odd one, because it's the first event. We're going to go for 2 full days, but for a reason I'm going to keep to myself for now, because you just wouldn't believe it, we've only got the venue from late afternoon on the Saturday. So what we've done is we've split the price down to £30 for the Saturday and £40 for the Sunday, or if you want to come for a weekend, we'll do your ticket at £60. Now, in some ways, you think that could be a fair bit of money, but when you actually break it down in costs, it's less than £4 per band. And, of course, it's raising money for a great cause. So, there you go. Simple maths equation, doc style.
So we certainly encourage people to look at the website cancerontherocks.co.uk to see the full lineup. I wanted to drill into some of the undercard, because it's a really, really strong undercard on both days. You've got Weapon UK and Gypsy's Kiss, so two classic bands from the 70s and the 80s who are now back recording new material.
Well, it's kind of funny because, I mean, Weapon have always been around in one way or form, but Gypsy's Kiss are actually one of the bands that work on my roster. And they are an exciting prospect, because Gypsy's Kiss were actually formed in 1974 by Steve Harris of Iron Maiden and David Smith. Now, they did some songs, and one of them that has been heavily featured throughout the Iron Maiden family tree over the years for devout fans is a song called Heat-Crazed Rawll. It's about, apparently in the summer of 1974, a water vole actually attacked a doctor because of the heat. So it's turned into a song. Anyway, the band have done nothing, but there's a festival called Burfest, and they were asked to reform to perform there, and that's how the whole Gypsy's Kiss lineup got started again. And we have a new EP coming out from them in a couple of weeks. Old material and new stuff as well.
And it's not just brand new bands like Collateral, classic bands like Romeo's Daughter, and then those bands that we just mentioned. There's also a band called Blurred Vision, who have been around for 10 years, but they kind of reinvented themselves, and I think they've got some new material coming out as well.
Yeah, I mean, Blurred Vision are actually one of the bands I am really looking forward to seeing the most. When you follow the backstory of them and the coming to England and all that part, they are just an interestingly exciting band. I also believe, but I'm going to mention this now because this is also important, that we're actually doing a gig in London. I'm not sure of a venue yet, as a fundraiser for War Child in the next few weeks.
Oh, at the Hard Rock Hotel Marble Arch.
Thank you. They're doing basically recovering John Lennon songs. It's going to be a special night, so if you get the chance, go check them out. I mean, Blurred Vision are an exceptional band. For one, that, you know, that's not in the regular mainstay. They're not ones that you hear about every day, but they do deserve to be out there. So hence the reason why they're on the list. Also, a couple of the other bands, Joan of Arc, you've got to give them credit for, because I mean, I've had this conversation with many female-fronted bands, but never an all-female band, because a lot of the time it's a male-focused world. Festivals are. And there's no need for that in this day and age. And some bands get a lot of stick for it. So Joan of Arc have had an incredible rise over the last few years, and a good bunch of girls. So that's really why I had to get them on. I've also put in a couple of my bands again here because, well, they're worth seeing. There is a very special guest announcement. Jesse Galante from New York is actually flying over for this event now.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, we're delighted to have Jessie coming over. I mean, I've worked with her for several years, and I mean, when I'm asked to describe Jessie to people, I always say she makes Tina Turner sound like a dormouse. I mean, she's powerful rock blues vocals. She's actually inducted in the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame as well. And she's bringing her guitarist and co-producer Michael Hund with her. If anybody knows Yvonne Huns from New York,
Yep.
You'll know that name.
Yep.
So, yep, they're coming over for it, which is an absolutely fantastic bit of news for us. And we've also got another very special guest to be announced on the Sunday. But you're going to have to tune into the website to find out who that is.
Excellent stuff. Because there are more bands on the Sunday, what time does that kick off?
We're actually kicking off the Sunday from about lunchtime, so we're looking at opening the doors at 12:30. So make it a great day. I mean, there's a whole mix, yeah, like you said before, and it's an eclectic mix. And there's a reason I do this. It's because I've been to so many festivals, I mean, particularly metal festivals, where you get one band after the other sounding exactly the same. And I want to mix it up a little bit, make it more of a whole entertainment thing rather than just a specific genre. And I think that way you actually encourage more people to come and see the event.
That's right, and of course, let's not forget the core purpose of the event, as the title implies, is a fundraising event primarily for the Macmillan Cancer
Yeah,
Charity.
it is. Well, basically, I started this event, as I say, just over 3 years ago now. 2 years ago now. You know, I work in the PR industry as my main my main business, and I work with countless thousands of people, and you hear cancer virtually as an everyday word, and I've lost quite a few good friends to it, and you know, you get apathetic to it after a while, and then it kind of hits home. My father was diagnosed in January with what they thought was just an upset stomach and an impacted bowel. It actually turned out to be lung and spinal cancer, and I watched him and helped him through the last 8 months of his life, essentially. And my dad was a really strong guy, and to see him wither away to essentially a matchstick, and knowing there was nothing I could do to help him, that's really when the kind of effect of cancer really hit home. And I lost another good friend who was a fellow PR in the industry earlier this year, and her name was Joy Von Hughes Monroe in America, the wife of Metal Church's ex-singer Ronnie Monroe. And Joy had battled this for 2 years, and her strength against it was absolutely incredible. And I mean, I'm doing this event just not in memory of my dad or my partner's dad, Sasha. I mean, she lost her father to cancer about a month before mine. And it's not just about that, it's about trying to help other people. The Macmillan nurses, if I hadn't had them around to deal with a lot of the stuff, I'd have probably been in a lunatic asylum by now, because the range of emotions, anger and everything that you go through when dealing with a cancer patient is extremely difficult. I mean, you know, my dad used to tell me he bloody hated me on a daily basis because I put him in a hospital because I couldn't cope looking after him anymore. And these are the sort of things you go through. I mean, he didn't, he was just scared. But these ladies do this day in, day out, without batting an eyelid, looking after the patients and the family. And, you know, I used to do a lot of work in counselling, and I could never do what they do, because they get to walk away from it and go home. It'd just be on my head 24/7. And they are quite literally the bravest people in all of the medical professions that I've come across. So hence why we do this.
And there's also the Royal Marsden. Charity as
Royal
well.
Marsden, obviously because we moved to London, we want to add more support to the local area. And the Royal Marsden is one of those research charities that is on the cutting edge of cancer research. So hence the Royal Marsden.
So if we look overall at the event, it's fantastic value for money for the weekend, £60 to a weekend ticket. But once people are there, there are even more opportunities. So I gather you have a raffle that's running.
Yeah, we have a raffle. There's one thing that's been a constant with COTR, and that is that we always give a guitar away signed by the bands as part of a raffle prize. No, that's not it. But I'm being handed by my stagehand here this very, very special guitar. Now this is what is known as a Ficon Tornado. It is hand built in Australia. It does hybrid acoustic electric. I'm not a guitarist, so I don't know about this stuff. It does a lot of things, apparently. Very special, and like I say, it's a one-off design. Now this is about just shy of £2,000 value as a guitar, and this is the main prize in the raffle this year. Plus you'll get the usual things like band merchandise and everything else, but we're actually doing this, not only will you be able to buy tickets on the day, but you can actually buy tickets from the shop on the Cancer on the Rocks page So we're throwing it open to the internet. So if you fancy a punt at £3 a ticket to stand a chance at winning this to raise more money for charity, then by all means go to the Cancer on the Rocks website and buy a ticket. And we shall keep you posted on it.
It's a very, very worthy cause. It sounds like a fantastic event. We'll be there. We'll report on the event as and when it happens, and what happens after as well. And also celebrate whoever the lucky person is that wins the guitar.
Yeah, I mean, basically, like I say, lots of good stuff to do, and there's lots of things to go on with the event. And, you know, at the end of the day, yeah, it may seem that doing an event like this is perhaps a bit wrong, but there's one thing that I've learned from dealing with people with cancer. It's, if you're not careful, you always tend to remember them how they were when they were dying. Now, Cancer on the Rocks is more about a celebration of life, and it's basically trying to get people to remember what they were before they became ill, remember the good signs of people, and what better way to do it than music? And I think that basically sums that up perfectly.
cancerontherocks.co.uk. The event, just to remind everyone, is the 23rd and 24th, the Saturday and Sunday in November. Come one, come all. It's going to be a great event.
Yeah, it most certainly is. Oh, and you can also catch us on facebook.com/COTR 2019 as well.
That's great, Rick. Always a pleasure talking to you. Take care, and we'll see you then.
Thank you, Andy.
Cheers.